The smell of roasted turkey always brings me back to childhood. Those golden afternoons when my family gathered around the dining table, passing dishes and sharing laughter. I used to believe that no matter how imperfect we were, love held us together. For almost 10 years, I silently carried this family on my shoulders, never asking for gratitude, never expecting recognition. But one Thanksgiving dinner changed everything. The people I sacrificed everything for looked me in the eyes and called me a burden. Before we begin, let me know where you are watching from today. Hit that like button and subscribe if you have not already. Now let me tell you how I discovered my true worth. My name is Harper, and I am 31 years old. I work as a software engineer in a city about 3 hours away from where I grew up. To understand what happened that Thanksgiving, you need to know about my family first. My father, Donald, is 58. He spent most of his life working construction, building houses, commercial buildings, whatever paid the bills. 8 years ago, he fell from scaffolding at a job site and shattered his lower back. 3 surgeries later, he can barely stand for more than 20 minutes at a time. He receives disability payments, but they barely cover his medication costs. My mother, Patricia, is 55. She has been a homemaker her entire adult life. She never worked outside the house, never had to. But she has always had strong opinions about her children, especially about who deserved her praise and who did not. Then there is my younger brother, Kevin. He is 27 now, 4 years younger than me. From the moment he was born, Kevin was the golden child. Everything he did was celebrated. Every mediocre achievement was treated like he had won an Olympic medal. He played football in high school, made it to the varsity team for 1 season, and my parents still talk about it like he was destined for the NFL. Kevin went to college to study marketing. He graduated 3 years ago. Since then, he has had 5 different jobs, none lasting more than 8 months. He always has an excuse. The boss was unfair. The company culture was toxic. He deserved better. Between jobs, he lives with my parents, eats their food, and contributes nothing. When I was 22, fresh out of college with my engineering degree, my father had his accident. The medical bills piled up like autumn leaves. The mortgage payments fell behind. My mother called me crying, saying they might lose the house. I had just started my first real job. I was making decent money for a new graduate, but nothing extravagant. Still, I started sending money home every month. $200 here, $500 there, whatever I could spare. Then Kevin got accepted to a private university. The tuition was astronomical. My parents could not afford it, and Kevin refused to go to a state school. He said it was beneath him, so I took on that burden too. Over 4 years, I paid nearly $40,000 for my brother to get a degree he barely uses. When Kevin graduated, I thought my financial obligations to the family would decrease. I was wrong. Kevin could not find a job. Then he found one but quit after 3 months. Then he needed money for a car. Then he crashed the car. Then he needed another car. 3 years ago, my parents called me in a panic. They were 3 months behind on the mortgage. The bank was threatening foreclosure. The house my father built with his own hands, the house where I grew up, was about to be taken away. I emptied my savings account. I paid off the entire back balance. And I quietly set up automatic payments from my account to cover the mortgage every month going forward. $2,300, month after month for 3 years. That is more than $80,000 just for the mortgage alone. In total, over nearly 10 years, I have given my family more than $200,000. I never kept exact count because I never wanted to. I did it because I thought that is what family does. I did it because I loved them. But here's the thing about being the reliable one. People stop seeing your sacrifices. They start expecting them. My monthly contributions became invisible like air. Nobody thanks you for breathing. Nobody thanks you for keeping the roof over their heads when they have forgotten you are the one doing it. My mother never called to ask how I was doing. She called to ask if I had sent the money yet. My father rarely called at all. And Kevin, he never once said thank you. Instead, he made jokes about me being a workaholic, a robot with no social life. He called me boring at family gatherings while spending money that came from my paycheck. Every Christmas, Every birthday, every Thanksgiving, I drove 3 hours to see them. I brought expensive gifts. I brought wine. I brought hope that maybe this time someone would see me. Really see me. Not as a walking wallet, but as a son, as a brother, as a human being who was slowly drowning trying to keep everyone else afloat. But that recognition never came. I was furniture to them. Useful, necessary, but utterly forgettable. I kept telling myself it was fine. Family is important. Sacrifice is noble. Love is not about receiving. I repeated these things like prayers, hoping if I said them enough times the ache in my chest would eventually fade. It never did. The week before Thanksgiving, I received some good news. After 4 years at my company, I was finally promoted to senior engineer. It came with a significant raise and recognition of my hard work. For the first time in a long while, I felt proud of myself. I decided to drive home for Thanksgiving to share the news. I even stopped at a specialty wine shop and bought a bottle of imported wine that cost nearly $150. I bought presents for everyone. A new scarf for my mother, a nice watch for my father, a gift card for Kevin, because I never knew what he actually wanted. The drive felt longer than usual. 3 hours of highway stretched ahead of me, and with each passing mile I rehearsed how I would tell them about the promotion. I imagined my mother smiling, my father nodding with approval, maybe even Kevin offering a genuine congratulations. When I arrived at the house, the driveway was already full. Kevin had brought his new girlfriend, a woman named Ashley I had never met. My parents were in the kitchen, the smell of turkey and stuffing filling every room. I walked in with my bags of gifts and wine. My mother looked up from the stove and said, "Oh, Harper, you made it. Can you put that wine in the fridge?" Then she turned to Kevin and Ashley and said Kevin was just telling us about his new job interview. "Tell him, Kevin, tell Harper about the big opportunity." Kevin launched into a long story about how he had a phone interview with some marketing firm downtown. The way my parents listened, you would have thought he was announcing he had cured cancer. My mother kept saying things like, "Oh, that is wonderful, my talented boy." My father actually put down his newspaper to pay attention. I stood there holding a bottle of wine that cost more than Kevin had contributed to this household in the past 6 months, and I was invisible. I tried to interject. "Actually, I have some news too. I got promoted last week. Senior engineer now." My mother glanced at me. "Oh, that is nice, Harper." She turned back to Kevin. "Now, Kevin, tell us more about this company. What is the salary like?" That was it. "That is nice." 4 years of working late nights, of pushing myself to exhaustion, of building something meaningful with my career, and my mother gave it the same enthusiasm she would give to someone telling her the weather forecast. I swallowed my disappointment and put the wine in the fridge. Dinner started at 6. The table was beautifully set. My mother had outdone herself with the food. Turkey mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, cranberry sauce, freshly baked rolls. It should have been perfect. The conversation at dinner revolved entirely around Kevin, his job prospects, his relationship with Ashley, his plans to maybe go back to school for an MBA. Every time I tried to contribute something, someone would interrupt, or the topic would shift back to my brother. At one point, Kevin started talking about how he was thinking of buying a new car, a luxury sedan, something with leather seats and a premium sound system. He spoke as if he had the money sitting in his account waiting to be spent. I knew the truth. Kevin had maybe $2,000 to his name. Any car he bought would be financed through our parents, which meant financed through me. I felt something bitter rising in my throat, but I pushed it down. Then Kevin said something that made my jaw tighten. He looked at Ashley and said, "Yeah, my family has always been supportive. Not like some families where everyone is out for themselves. We actually care about each other here." I almost laughed. Almost. Instead, I said quietly, "That is a nice way to put it." Kevin heard me. "What is that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. I said it is nice." I tried to keep my voice neutral, but something must have slipped through because my mother put down her fork and stared at me. "Harper, what is your problem tonight? You have been sulking since you got here. I have not been sulking, I just have not had much chance to talk. Well, maybe if you had something interesting to say, people would listen. That stung. I set down my fork slowly. I told you I got promoted. That seemed pretty interesting to me. Kevin rolled his eyes. Here we go. Harper and his job. You know not everything is about money. I did not say anything about money. You did not have to. That is all you ever think about. How much you make, how hard you work. Do you even have a life outside of that office? I felt my face getting hot. At least I have a job, Kevin. The table went silent. Kevin's girlfriend looked uncomfortable. My father stared at his plate. My mother's eyes narrowed. What did you just say? My mother's voice was ice. I said at least I have a job. Kevin has been unemployed more than he has been employed since graduation. But sure, let us all sit here and celebrate his phone interview like he just got elected president. Kevin slammed his hand on the table. You know what your problem is, Harper? You are jealous. You have always been jealous that people actually like me. I am not jealous. I am tired. I am tired of being the one who holds everything together while everyone pretends I do not exist. My mother stood up her chair, scraping against the floor. That is enough. Harper, you have always done this. You have always tried to make yourself the victim. Poor Harper, working so hard, nobody appreciates him. She walked toward me, her voice rising. You want to know the truth? You have always been a burden to this family. From the day you were born, you have been difficult, demanding, never satisfied. Your brother knows how to make people happy. You only know how to make people feel guilty. The words hit me like physical blows, a burden, from the day I was born. Always. Kevin laughed. Actually laughed. At least I make this family proud. What do you have, Harper? A job title nobody cares about and an empty apartment. I looked around the table, at my mother, face twisted with anger. At Kevin smirking like he had won something. At his girlfriend carefully studying her napkin. At my father, who had not said a single word in my defense. Not one word. I realized then that I had been wrong my entire life. I thought if I gave enough, sacrificed enough, loved enough, they would eventually see me. They would eventually love me back the way I needed to be loved. But you cannot make people see you. You cannot earn love from people who have already decided you do not deserve it. I placed my fork down gently on my plate. I pushed back my chair. I stood up. Harper, sit down. You are being ridiculous. My mother's voice had shifted from angry to annoyed like I was a misbehaving child. I did not respond. I walked to the front door, grabbed my coat from the hook, and put it on. My hands were steady. My heart was not. Harper, do not you dare walk out that door. We are in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner. I opened the door. Cold November air rushed in. Kevin called out from the dining room. There he goes, running away like always. So dramatic. I stepped outside, closed the door behind me, and walked to my car. The engine started on the first try. I pulled out of the driveway and drove into the night, leaving the house, the dinner, and the family who saw me as nothing but a burden. I did not cry, not yet. The tears would come later alone in my apartment when the numbness finally wore off. But in that moment, driving through the dark with empty roads stretching ahead of me, I felt something I had not felt in years. I felt free. The drive home took 3.5 hours because I pulled over twice. The first time was at a gas station where I sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes, staring at nothing. The second time was on the shoulder of the highway when my hands started shaking so badly I could not grip the steering wheel. I made it to my apartment around 11 that night. I walked inside, dropped my keys on the counter, and stood in the darkness of my living room. The silence was deafening. No accusations, no dismissive comments, no laughter at my expense. Just quiet. I did not sleep that night. I sat on my couch and thought about everything. The years of sacrifice, the hundreds of thousands of dollars, The countless hours driving back and forth trying to be present for people who never wanted me there. Around 3 in the morning, I made a decision. The next day, I called my bank. I canceled the automatic payment for my parents' mortgage. The woman on the phone asked if I was sure. I said yes. She asked if there was a problem with the account. I said no, I just no longer wanted to make that payment. I logged into the various accounts where I had been sending money to my family. Kevin's allowance, my mother's household fund, the emergency credit card I had given my father. One by one, I shut them all down. Then I blocked their phone numbers. All of them. My mother, my father, Kevin. I did not want to hear their voices. I did not want to read their texts. I needed space. I needed to breathe. For the first few days, I felt guilty. The conditioning of 3 decades is hard to break. Every time my phone did not ring with a call from my mother, I felt a pang of something like grief. But I reminded myself of her words. Burden. Always have been. If I was such a burden, then I would remove myself from their lives completely. The weeks passed. December arrived with its cold winds and early darkness. I threw myself into my work. I went to the gym. I reconnected with old friends I had neglected while I was busy being the family's ATM. I met a woman named Megan at a coffee shop near my office. She was a nurse at the local hospital with kind eyes and a laugh that made me smile. We started talking, then texting, then having dinner together. She did not know anything about my family situation. She liked me for who I was, not for what I could provide. Meanwhile, back at my parents' house, reality was setting in. The first mortgage payment I missed was due on December 1st. The bank would have sent a notice after a grace period. By mid-December, there would have been phone calls. By late December, the threat of late fees and potential foreclosure proceedings. I learned later what happened pieced together from various sources. Kevin's big job interview had gone nowhere. He was still unemployed. His girlfriend Ashley broke up with him 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, apparently tired of his lack of ambition. He moved back into my parents' house full-time, eating their food, using their electricity, contributing nothing. My mother had to find a job for the first time in over 30 years. She got hired part-time at a grocery store working the register for minimum wage. The humiliation nearly broke her. She had spent her whole life looking down on people who worked retail, and now she was one of them. My father tried to find work, but his back made it impossible. He could not stand for long periods. He could not lift anything heavy. Most employers took one look at his medical history and passed. The week before Christmas, my father finally managed to reach me. He borrowed a neighbor's phone since his number was blocked. When I saw the unfamiliar number, I answered without thinking. "Harper, is that you?" I recognized his voice immediately. My stomach tightened. "Yes." "Thank God. I have been trying to reach you for weeks. Your mother is worried sick." "I seriously doubt that." There was a pause. Then Harper, "Something is wrong with the mortgage. The bank says it has not been paid." There was a notice. "They are talking about foreclosure if we do not catch up by the end of January." I let the silence stretch between us. "Harper, did you hear me?" "I heard you." "Do you know anything about this?" "Have you talked to the bank?" I took a slow breath. "Dad, have you ever wondered how the mortgage got paid these past 3 years?" More silence. When he spoke again, his voice was smaller. "What do you mean?" "I mean that since you fell behind 3 years ago, I have been paying the mortgage. Every month. $2,300 out of my account. Along with Kevin's college loans, his car payments, Mom's household expenses, your medical bills when insurance did not cover everything." I could hear him breathing on the other end. "I have given this family over $200,000 in the past decade. And at Thanksgiving dinner, Mom called me a burden. Kevin said at least he makes the family proud. So I have a suggestion for you, Dad. What ask your pride and joy to pay the mortgage? Since I am just a burden, you do not need my money anymore." "Harper." "Wait. I did not know. Your mother did not mean it. She was just upset, you know how she gets." "I know exactly how she gets. I have known my entire life. That is the problem. Please, let us talk about this. Come home for Christmas. We can work this out as a family. I am not coming home for Christmas. I am not coming home at all. You have Kevin. He is the one who makes you proud. Let him take care of everything. He does not have a job he cannot afford. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you spent 30 years telling me I was never good enough while he could do no wrong. I hung up the phone. My hands were shaking, but this time it was not from fear or sadness. It was from something else. Something that felt like power. The days after that call were strangely peaceful. I spent Christmas with Megan and her family. They were warm, welcoming people who included me in their traditions without a second thought. Her mother made too much food and insisted I take leftovers home. Her father told stories and actually listened when I responded. Her younger sister asked about my job and seemed genuinely interested in my answers. This is what family is supposed to feel like, I thought. Not a transaction, not an obligation, just people who enjoy being together. Back at my parents' house, things continued to crumble. Kevin, faced with the reality that his lifestyle was collapsing, started looking for someone to blame. He blamed my parents for letting me leave. He blamed me for being selfish. He blamed the economy, his former employers, his ex-girlfriend, everyone except himself. My mother began calling relatives asking for loans. Most of them said no. The ones who said yes could only offer small amounts, not nearly enough to cover 3 months of missed mortgage payments, plus the late fees. By January, the bank had initiated foreclosure proceedings. My parents had 30 days to come up with the money or lose the house. I heard about this through a cousin who still talked to me. She asked if I knew what was happening. I said I did. She asked if I was going to help. I said no. She was quiet for a moment, then said she understood. That surprised me. I expected judgment. I expected her to tell me I was being cruel, that family takes care of family, that I should forgive and forget. Instead, she said they never appreciated you, Harper. Everyone could see it except them. Maybe this is what it takes for them to finally understand. February came, and with it an unexpected letter. It was from my mother, sent to my apartment address. She must have gotten it from someone since I had never given it to her directly. The envelope was plain white, my name written in her careful handwriting. I almost threw it away without opening it. But something made me hesitate. Maybe curiosity. Maybe hope that still refused to die completely. I opened it and read. The letter was 3 pages long, front and back. My mother wrote about how wrong she had been. How she had spent so many years focused on Kevin because he was the one who struggled. The one who needed more attention, that she forgot I needed attention too. She wrote that she had taken me for granted because I was always reliable, always capable, always there. She had confused my strength for not needing love. She did not ask for money. Not once in 3 pages did she mention the mortgage, or the foreclosure, or the financial crisis. She only asked for forgiveness. She said she understood if I could not give it, but she needed me to know that she was sorry. Truly sorry. I read the letter 3 times. Then I sat on my couch and cried. Not because I had forgiven her, not yet. But because after 31 years she had finally seen me, finally acknowledged that I was more than a source of money, finally admitted that she had been wrong. I did not respond immediately. I needed time to think, to process, to decide what I wanted moving forward. Over the next few weeks, I had long conversations with Megan about my family. She listened without judgment, asked thoughtful questions, and supported whatever decision I made. She did not tell me to forgive them. She did not tell me to cut them off forever. She simply said that I deserved to be treated with respect, and only I could decide what that looked like. In March, I reached out to my mother. I suggested we meet for coffee, just the 2 of us. Neutral territory. No Kevin, no Dad, just us. She agreed immediately. We met at a small cafe halfway between my apartment and my parents' house. She looked older than I remembered. Tired. The past few months had clearly taken a toll. We talked for 3 hours. She apologized again, this time in person. She told me about the struggles they were facing, how they had managed to get an extension on the foreclosure, by selling some things and borrowing from relatives. She told me Kevin had finally gotten a job, a real one, and was starting to contribute for the first time in his life. She told me my father was devastated. He had not realized how much I had been doing. When he found out the full extent of my financial support, he broke down and cried. He wanted to apologize but was afraid I would not want to hear from him. I listened to all of it. And when she was done, I said what I needed to say. I love you, Mom. I always have. But I cannot go back to the way things were. I will not be the invisible one anymore. I will not be the ATM that everyone ignores until they need something. She nodded, tears in her eyes. I understand. I do not expect you to. I just want a chance to be a real mother to you. The mother I should have been all along. We did not solve everything that day. Healing does not work like that. But we started something. A new foundation. A relationship built on honesty instead of obligation. I eventually met with my father, too. His apology was clumsy, awkward, full of pauses and half-finished sentences, but it was genuine. He said he had been a coward letting my mother run the family while he stayed silent. He should have stood up for me. He should have seen what was happening. He was sorry. Kevin and I have not spoken. He sent me a text message a few months ago, something short and defensive that was more excuse than apology. I did not respond. Maybe someday we will talk. Maybe we will not. That is his choice to make. As for me, I have learned something valuable through all of this. Love is not about emptying yourself for people who will never fill you back up. Sacrifice is not noble when it comes at the cost of your own worth. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away, not out of hatred, but out of self-respect. I am not a burden. I never was. I was a good son, a good brother, a good person who gave too much to people who gave too little in return. And now I give my love to those who deserve it. To Megan, who sees me clearly and loves what she sees. To friends who value my presence, not my wallet. To myself, finally, after all these years. If you are watching this and you recognize yourself in my story, if you are the one who carries everyone else, while no one carries you, I want you to know something. You are allowed to put yourself first. You are allowed to demand respect. You are allowed to walk away from people who hurt you, even if those people are family. Your worth is not measured by what you give. It is inherent. It exists simply because you exist. And anyone who makes you feel like a burden for existing does not deserve a place in your life. I want to ask you something. Have you ever felt invisible to the people who should love you most? Have you ever given everything and received nothing in return? Share your story in the comments. Let us support each other. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button. Subscribe to this channel for more stories like this one. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it today. Thank you for watching, for listening, for being here. I hope you find the peace and the love you deserve. Take care of yourself first. You are worth it.